welcome to another episode of Inquiring Minds. I am Steve Harper, and with me as always is the amazing, incomparable Donna Carlin. How are you doing, Donna?
I'm just fine and always amazed at how you open up this show. It's it's you. What could I say?
Yeah. Well, I've got to come up with even more adjectives for you. I had a list at one point. I don't know what I did with it, but when we go quick to record, I freeze up. I have that stage fright all of a sudden. I
Right.
may have to book a session with you to figure out how to overcome that. So, but
Okay.
amazing covers it all. I mean, you are 100% amazing. And I have to tell you, I actually just had a conversation with a coaching client who said how much they are absolutely taking from these episodes of Inquiring Minds. In fact, they're actually now sharing the episodes with their weekly staff meetings, which just totally thrilled me. But they're like, yeah, Donna's awesome, and you're okay. But I mean, yeah, Donna's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm like, there you go. So maybe awesome. We'll just leave it at awesome.
That's great. And the other thing that I want to share with our listeners, because this is really important to me. I'm working on a coaching program for physicians and surgeons, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
self-coaching, like peer coaching, I should say, program. And the head of education and ongoing education for the college actually listed our podcast as a major resource for
Ah,
physicians and surgeons to listen to. And I was really taken aback, like very pleased, obviously, to know that she thought enough about it to actually list it as one of the premier resources for people who take the course. So
that's
I'm over the moon
fantastic.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's we cover a lot of great things in this podcast. We have had a great time doing it. Obviously, where we are right now with this new season 3. I mean, we're just rocking and rolling, and so I'm glad that the people are starting to come to it and leverage this these great conversations, these great questions, these great topics to really take it beyond the episode and really dive into their own internal conversations. It's great to hear. It makes me so happy.
Me as well. And the last week I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm so glad to be getting back into a like a reading mode because there's so much that I need to read, never
Hmm.
mind want to read. And so I've been jotting down some incredible quotes that have been coming to my attention.
Yep,
And I figured let's use one for today and maybe for subsequent episodes as well.
I love it.
And I'd love to get your take on this
Okay.
because, I'm a shadow coach and I work with the Jungian shadow, people's shadows, the dark side of their psyche and hidden potential and all that fun stuff. And this one really resonated with me. So it's happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Now, where do you think I picked that one up?
I have a suspicion, but I will let you reveal it.
So it's Albus Dumbledore, and considering I have like his magic wand here,
How do you get one
because
of
my
those? Is there
clients.
like a website you got that with your really cool glasses? I mean, I
Oh,
need my
right,
own wand. I want my own wand.
Universal Studios. They have like a whole Harry Potter setup there, and I love Harry Potter. So I bought the magic wand there, and I was asking Ray, what do you think? What's the best wand for me? He said, "You're the wise one. You're the one that teaches, and everything else." Albus Dumbledore. So that's the one I bought.
I love it. I
And I've
love it.
been rereading some of the books because there's a lot in the books that obviously doesn't show up in the movies that it sort of came to mind with Yoda's famous quotes that he has a lot of wisdom. So
He
what are
does.
some of the things that I want to use as a springboard, sort of like what Tom Morris did with If Harry Potter Could Run
Yeah.
General Electric, right? And so what was really key for me was shadows are only dark when you don't turn on the light. When you shine a light on them and expose them to do something with them, they're not so dark anymore.
Right.
And, how does that show up in our lives? Where do we consider or label something a really dark time in our lives, or this is a part of me that I really am uncomfortable with. What if we looked at that through a different light and asked the question, how could we view this differently?
I like
So I'd
that.
love to throw that out at you.
Yeah, well, the it's as almost every one of these topics tends to be. This is super relevant to me right now. As you know, we had to delay our recording because I had some challenges, that I'm working through with my other company, my software company. And last night we had a major deployment of a fix to fix something something else that we had pushed out over the holidays. And what I had realized, actually, we left the office on Friday and things were burning. There's Reid Hoffman from one of the founders of LinkedIn, actually the founder of LinkedIn. He's got a great podcast as well that talks about sometimes in tech you have to leave when when the fires are burning because you'll just drive yourself nuts. Consuming yourself with what shouldn't have happened or what should happen or why are these things not fixed there, and in the tech space that happens with regularity. And what I realized is how differently I handled this situation this time. And so Friday, things weren't going great. We ended up having a very late call with the team and we realized that the fix wasn't going to be fixed until late Monday, which meant we had all day Tuesday to get it resolved and then push out, and I realized really, I think in sort of a kind of a big revelation was, even though the situation was bad and negative, it was how appreciative I was of making the decisions I made to have the team that I have that work the problem to conclusion at a point that I never could have done on my own. I probably would have caused more mess or created more stress and conflict for our dev resources than the team that went at this with very clear eyes, a concise plan, and a commitment to get it resolved. Maybe not as fast as I would have liked, but it got resolved. And as I turned off my phone last night to go to bed, I realized how lucky I am that we actually have these people focused on the right things and not me. And what was great about that and why it's relevant to today's conversation was the old version of me might not have asked the right questions. Like, what could I pull out of this? What is the positive that I can pull from this situation? What does this allow me to appreciate, even though if you just looked at the situation, there wasn't much to appreciate. And it's these conversations that we have that has me asking deeper, more meaningful questions, even in my own work, about these situations that in the time may not be pleasant, that darkness, but there are still things that you can pull out of it if you're willing to shine the light and find them. So you had no idea really, other than the fact that I had to delay our start time, that some things were happening, but that's a real relevant example to me. And it's just super timely here.
So, what I'm hearing from you is like a whole bunch of things. One is in the past, and knowing you would have done this, you would be the one to try to put out the fire. And you would be the one.
I would have been the one yelling at people to put out the fire.
I was trying to
Hook
be
the
nice,
hose
Steve.
up.
I mean, seriously here.
Yeah. I don't want people to think I'm way smarter than I am. I just need to be honest here.
So one of the questions that I asked way back when, because it's already well into the new year, is, what did you learn from 2022? And, I asked a lot of my clients that question. I'd like to ask the kids that question. I didn't yet. But anyway, looking at that, what did you learn about yourself within that? And there's so much that has changed within you in how you respond to some of my questions. I really do see a huge shift. The thing here is things are dark because they emote our fears and insecurities and everything else. Mm-hmm. And then the should have, would have, all of those
shooting ourselves, like you often say,
ourselves to death. We should have done something different or whatever. I'm hearing from you what a great leader does, and that is leave it to the people who are on point for this to get it done.
Yeah.
And maybe, light a fire under them a little bit. However, you let them get it done, because no matter how smart you are, how savvy you are in your field, you cannot do it all. And a great leader knows that when they remove themselves from the equation and things still get done and get done in a really good way,
Yeah.
that is a testament to the leadership that you have by enabling them to do their best and be their best. So that is a huge light to shine on what's happening. I think that, this is a great quote to look at our lives in a holistic manner through,
Yeah.
and to say, how does this influence my home life, my work life? Let's face it, it's all integrated. Life is
It
life,
is.
period. So, where's the wisdom there, and what can you do to look through a different lens, that lens of light?
Yep. Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you for that acknowledgement. I really do appreciate it. And it really is a big testament to a lot of these conversations in sort of the, before opening my mouth, before pushing the panic button, or, really just going to panic mode, like worst case scenario, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. I'm asking the right questions, and I'm pausing, and I'm stopping in the moment to recognize, okay, you're about to go off the rails. You're about to, say or do something that is going to have the less than positive outcome, and it's not going to change anything, right? All it's going to do is cause more stress or conflict or frustration or anger. So those things have been really relevant. And I think, for me, that has been really critical. I have, believe it or not, as much as I come across as a very positive person, I have, by my nature, always been cultured to always go to the negative, always go to the dark side. And there was a time where the dark side, even though I might see the light switch over there to flip it on and take the scary away, I think that there is a tendency, and I've seen it in my own coaching clients, that there are people that feel like they have to operate at that feeling of doom, impending doom, always coming, and they almost have an attraction to the darkness because they feel that it's almost like comforting in that environment. Like everything is just out of our control, and there's so much that is going wrong with life or work, etc. And that's a self-perpetuating thing, right? Where if you can stop yourself in the moment and you can find the light switch and you can turn on, what can I learn here? What can I challenge myself to understand about this situation? What can I do to help if I can? Or what do I just need to do to, for me, keep my freaking mouth shut and stop badgering my team? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet?
Yeah.
I realized last night when I flipped over and, I was just like about to go to sleep, and I looked at my phone and Slack for the last time, and I realized the last, we'll call it 4 days, would have been me doing that all the time, like every 15 minutes. Do we have an update? What's going on? And all that does is cause everybody else conflict. And so for me, it's really interesting because that was the only environment that I knew to operate from. And that's I think a lot of times leaders who don't stop and recognize these things, what you can pick and pull out of these situations, they're destined to continue to repeat the same error of their ways over and over again. And then that causes, really negative ripple effects, right? People leave, people don't want to be around you. You lose personal relationships because you're always the negative one in the room. I just see all sorts of aspects here. And I guess why this topic and that quote specifically really resonates with me is it never occurred to me to look for the positive beforehand. And it never occurred to me to find the damn light. Like flip it on, find what you can when you can, because, the reality is life is tough. And there is, a constant bombardment of crap we don't like and, makes us uncomfortable and frustrates us. But, how do you deal with it? And what can you pull out of it to be better in some capacity, in any capacity? So the timing of this is really powerful for me.
So, you talk about ripple effect, which is you're the king of ripplers. Everything has a ripple effect. So if you approach things from doom and gloom, the ripple effect goes to the tenor of what you do, the culture of the organization that you work in. Everyone's always waiting for the other shoe to drop, that kind of thing.
Yep.
When you choose the opposite, when you choose to say, what within this could I play with? Could I have a huge impact on? What could I build? What can I grow, shift away from, course correct, whatever it is, and have fun with it? That kind of energy just manifests to such an extent that it becomes contagious. And the reason I'm saying that is that human nature tends to go to the fear-based decision making,
Yeah.
the I'm going to fail kind of thing in the back of their minds. And rather than do that, ask yourself, what could I do with this? And that speaks to living in the moment. People have a hard time doing that. To a great extent,
Mm-hmm.
people look at what happened in past history. How could I not make the same mistakes or replicate what I did in the past? Life changes on a dime, especially in technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened like even 2 years ago is maybe not even relevant anymore. So to look at what is currently happening and articulate what is, not what was or what could be,
Yeah.
what is right now, and how do I influence the future by the choices I make in the present right now?
Yep.
And there you
Sorry,
go.
somebody's at my front door.
Okay.
Alexa was just
Bye.
dinging. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. You're absolutely correct. I mean, that point is it's significantly not lost on me. Hopefully it's not lost on our viewers either, because at the end of the day, it's such a critical revelation. And I can't begin to tell you how empowering it is when you can sorry a second. Let me just turn this off. How empowering that particular revelation in my own mind is, just how much power it gave me last night to like literally, roll over and have a smile on my face. That's like, oh, I know how you would have been. I know how
Yeah.
this would have gone potentially before, and see that complete shift is really powerful. And so I think that, for our audience, I think if you look at these situations and just exactly like what Donna said, if you can ask yourself that series of questions and look at things with a true objective view, it may not necessarily fix the situation and it may not necessarily eliminate all the darkness, but it will certainly make it less potent and impactful. And so I think that this was just a great quote. I mean, it's just such a wonderful reminder. And just so everybody knows, Donna had absolutely no idea that this was going on. So these are why these things are so great, because I have heard from many of our listeners that I don't know how you guys knew what was going on in my head at that moment, but by gosh, you nailed it with some, question or scenario, or in this case, this quote. So these things have relevance to us as well in terms of how we operate as entrepreneurs and coaches and in our own, little orbits. So, I'm so grateful that we get the opportunity to do this.
Oh, I love these segments, and I really look forward to them all week. So, thank you for that, and congratulations, because talking about replicating, that's what you just shared is something to replicate over and over again. To really ask yourself the question: am I only doing what only I could do? Remember that question,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
to be able to let your team shine in how they address these situations. So, congratulations. It's
Thank you. I appreciate it. And even my team, when they walked in this morning, they did not want to murder me. So that was
there.
really
You
good.
go.
And we're all
That's,
smiling. Yeah. So it worked
yeah.
out. Yeah.
And
Well,
it's a
Donna,
question I'm going to ask our listeners,
yeah.
actually. And the question is, how can you turn something that's dark in your mind and your approach to something that's light and joyful and energizing in a positive way? Have you looked back at how you've addressed difficult situations in the past How do you play with them rather than fight with them? So that's a question that I'm going to put on the table. And you know what? It would be great if you posted in our not our LinkedIn group, our Facebook group. We don't have a LinkedIn group yet. We need to talk
We
about
need
that.
to do that. Yeah, we do need to do.
Yeah,
now the pressure's on. Now you just put it out there publicly.
You go. And to just share, where have you turned things around to the point where you're smiling instead of grimacing about what's happening in your world? We would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, we would definitely appreciate that that level of participation, that kind of input. Give us some perspective what you take out of this particular episode or any of the episodes, because Donna and I are infinitely interested in what you're pulling out of this. And this one, certainly had relevance to me. My guess is it's going to have very significant relevance for someone else out there. So the Facebook group becomes a great way for you to actively participate and get a conversation started. And the great thing about that is not just with us, it's with somebody else who's maybe lurking as well. That's like, hey, I've been waiting for someone to have the courage to bring that up. Or, I've been looking for an opportunity to have that in-depth, conversation about this as well myself. And so it's just all about the possibility of connection. These open up a lot of doors of opportunity for us all. So we greatly appreciate it. Definitely don't forget to go and check out all of Donna's great work at donnacarlin.com. That's Carlin with a K. And mine is ripplecentral.com. And we'll be back again very soon with another empowerful, probably quote, on our next episode. In the meantime, Donna, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for the conversation, and thanks for the encouragement. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.